It's a brand new season of Pokemon Champions and the mobile release is finally here. And with that, we now know the new abilities of Mega Pokemon added to Pokemon Champions. Mega Eelektross has the brand new ability Eelevate, which is a combination of Levitate and Beast Boost, because when it knocks out a Pokemon, its highest stat is boosted by 1 stage. And Mega Pyroar has the brand new ability Fire Main, which boosts the power of Fire-type moves by 50%. There's a bunch of other new Mega Pokemon we have to talk about, so let's get right into it. So I'm very excited to talk today about the Mega Evolutions we have, the abilities they have that are now confirmed, and my overall thoughts on them. So of course, you can let me know your thoughts down below. Also, feel free to subscribe. I am 20,000 subscribers away from 500,000, which is absolutely insane. If you want to join me on the journey, feel free to. Absolutely no pressure though. Don't feel like you have to. So let's talk about Mega Eelektross. So obviously its old ability is Levitate, or its ability prior to Mega Evolving is Levitate. And now it has Eelevate. So it's a combination of Beast Boost and Levitate. You're immune to hazards, you're immune to spikes, you're immune to your main weakness and your only weakness, which is ground. And on top of that, whenever you pick up a KO, whatever your highest stat is, you get a boost in that. So this is quite literally Beast Boost. Now there is one thing. I'll say right here that unfortunately, no matter what you do, Eelektross cannot get a speed boost. It has too much special attack, even if you go like, or has too much attack. And unfortunately, in at least Pokemon Champions, there are no IVs. So you can't go like 0 attack, 0 whatever, just to try and get a speed boost after a KO. Of course, if you play in like a 6v6 singles metagame, that is not Champions OU, but maybe a National Dex one, you can probably leverage this to get yourself a nice boost. And the way you do that is you give it like HP. But it'd be pretty cool because if your defense was your highest, for instance, I don't even know if that's possible. Yeah, your attack is just way too high. Your attack is just way too high. So you get a boost whenever you pick up a KO. So you can either get special attack or you can get an attack boost for the most part. And this is nice because it has a pretty good speed tier at base 80, right? And Eelektross has a really, really good move pool. Just some cool options, right? You do have Coil and Bulk Up, which are great for the physical side, and you do have Close Combat as well, so you have some really strong damage. But at least on the special side, you have things like Thunderbolt, Flamethrower, Giga Drain for recovery, of course, if you're playing in doubles. Even Muddy Water, which is really interesting that this Pokemon ends up getting. So you have a lot of good options that you can deal with, that you can actually dish out damage. And on top of that, you can partner it with something. If you're using like a Coil set or anything like that, you can partner it with something like a Sinistcha or just some fake out Mon. Like, for instance, Incineroar. And another cool thing you could do is obviously the Coil plus Zap Cannon, so you can't miss your Zap Cannons. I think in that sense, though, you would rather, first off, you need multiple coils, but secondly, you might rather want to try out Raichu instead, which has no guard. So either way, I feel like this is a pretty nasty Mon. It has just good overall bulk. 85, 80, 90 is not bad, especially when you pair it next to something with Intimidate. By the way, I know I sound tired. It is 5:30 a.m. I just finished screaming and I had to talk about these Pokemon. I was so excited that I had to. But pair it with something Intimidate. And again, just having good overall coverage. You have Flamethrower for your Sinistchas. It even learns like Dragon Pulse, for instance. Dragon Pulse, Dragon Claw, and Dragon Tail. Dragon Tail plus Coil could be really annoying. I actually like the idea behind that, like a Coil, Dragon Tail, Drain Punch, Supercell Slam set. You basically phase out Garchomp, you Drain Punch to recover. This is actually something that Sinistcha would run in previous generations, except it would run Wild Charge or Thunder Punch over Supercell Slam. Maybe you actually don't run Supercell Slam though, because Protect is so common in VGC. You could run something else over that, but I do think it has a lot of potential in that regard. And I think that while most people are focused on Mega Metagross right now and the fact that Mega Swampert got Wave Crash, which is pretty crazy, and all the nerfs that we got, which I'll make multiple videos on these so you guys can at least know my thoughts on that or see for yourself. I do think it has a lot of potential overall. I just think it has a stat distribution for it, and it has that speed tier that's like, okay, I can technically function on either Tailwind or on Trick Room. And Trick Room, of course, just into the faster matchups like Charizard Y and Garchomp and Aerodactyl. Of course, I'm talking about the previous regulation. I don't know if that's going to be the standard for this regulation. It's day 0 currently, right? It's not even done with day 1, but it can definitely function very well, in my opinion. So next up, I want to talk about Mega Pyroar. Now, Mega Pyroar is a disappointment in terms of stats wise, right? Just the plus 20 to all stats is like, why even bother giving it an attack stat if it doesn't really have much to actually do with it? But it does have the ability Fire Main, which gives it a 50% boost to its fire type attacks. Now you might be thinking, why would I use this over a Pokemon like Mega Charizard Y, which already has a boost to its fire type attacks because it automatically sets up the sun. On top of that, it can go for its own Solar Beam. And of course, you're immune to Earthquake as well, so you can pair it with an easy partner like Garchomp. Well, I mean, you're right? In terms of that, it is really strong. However, if Sun is up for Pyroar, Pyroar actually hits harder than Mega Charizard Y. Just to show you guys, a damage calc right here. I have Pyroar's Mega Pyroar's Heat Wave, in the sun, and this is Fire Main boosted. All I did was give a 50% boost to Heat Wave itself, and this is to Mega Floette, max HP, and it does 54 to 64. Max special attack Charizard. I went timid. I didn't go modest. Modest is definitely ran, but they're not running max special attack anyway on modest, so I figured this is fine. And it does 41 to 49%. Now, granted, Charizard sets up its own sun. So if you're using Pyroar, you're going to need something that can set up sun for it. Of course, the obvious things are Torkoal and Ninetales. But I think that if you're adding on Torkoal and Ninetales with Pyroar, you're kind of already putting yourself in a bad spot. You're adding on just extra EQ weaknesses. Torkoal only really functions two different ways. One is on Trick Room, of course, the tried and true. The other is with After You from something like Mega Lopunny, which allows it to move next, or another After You Pokemon, right? But I don't think in this case you want to do that because you have Pyroar. And what's the difference between this and Mega Houndoom? I think that, and that was a rhetorical question. I'm not answering that. I'm just being like, why would you use this and that? They're the same thing in a sense. Well, one's a dog, one's a cat. But in this one, or feline, whatever, in this one, I think the best way if you want to use Pyroar is to use Pokemon that use Sunny Day. So Prankster Sableye is the first one that comes to mind. That way you can change weather and deal with Pokemon like Pelipper and stuff and really just abuse those heat waves. Like a Fire Main boosted heat wave is stronger than an adaptability boosted heat wave. So people be like, why didn't they give an adaptability? So Hyper Voice would have been stronger too. I think it still would have been too weak with that. So that's really cool. Other Mons, of course, Prankster Meowstic. I don't think it needs to be a Prankster Mon either. I think a fast Pokemon does really well too. I think that the fact that you can use something like Aerodactyl, for instance, to set up Sunny Day. And this is something that my boy MJ ran as well. I think that's a really good one too. Another pretty interesting calc as well on Floette is this. So Overheat does 98 to 116% in the sun, which is pretty crazy. So I think the set would probably be something like Heat Wave, Overheat, Protect, and then either Solar Beam if you have it with the sun, or Hyper Voice just for the spread move damage as well. In terms of Pyroar, they did actually nerf it in Pokemon Champions. They had recently given it Earth Power in Pokemon Legends ZA, which is kind of exciting. Actually, it was not exciting. Anybody who played versus Pyroar in Pokemon Legends ZA feared it. Those dudes, it was a whole pride, and they were just Earth powering, and then you were getting Earthquaked by Diggersby, or digged by Diggersby as well. You know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. Anyway, so I think Hyper Voice plus Flare Blitz, Hyper Voice Overheat plus Heat Wave will be pretty good. But again, they got rid of Earth Power, but they did keep Scorching Sands on it. So it does still have Scorching Sands, which I think is pretty cool as well. I don't think that matters as much right now, but in a metagame where Heatran will eventually come back, that could be cool in that regard. Also, Pyroar has a really good speed tier, right? Like, it's faster than Sneasler, which is really good. So you throw in it with an Overheat, you throw in it with a Heat Wave as well. So there's something to keep in mind when it comes to this Pokemon. So now we're going to talk about Mega Scolipede. I'm a little upset about Mega Scolipede's ability because it's Shell Armor, which means it cannot be critical hit. Granted, it's wearing armor, and it obviously gets a lot more defensive from regular Scolipede at the cost of its speed, which makes sense. That armor looks pretty heavy. I get it. However, I think they messed up a little bit with this Pokemon because not only does it have shell armor, which is whatever about its ability shell armor, I just don't think they gave it the tools that it really wanted. In Pokemon Legends ZA, it did end up losing, or it got Mortal Spin, it got U-Turn, it got First Impression. But unfortunately, when it comes to Pokemon Champions, they got rid of First Impression, Mortal Spin, and U-Turn. Really, really whack for this Pokemon. However, it does now have Leech Life and Gunk Shot. Gunk Shot is incredibly strong, especially coming off of that base 140 attack. And Leech Life gives it some nice recovery, and that's pretty cool considering you can use Swords Dance, Leech Life, and actually heal back your health. You have a really low HP stats, so you're going to get, and you have high attacks, so you're going to get back a lot of health from Pokemon that you're attacking. Now, I think they messed up with this Pokemon because one thing that would have been really, really nice, especially with its stat distribution, and hell, the way it looks, was giving it Coil. Coil would have been nice, especially for the new Gunk Shot introduction, because you would not be missing. On top of that, you would be boosting your defenses, and you'd be making your Leech Life even better, right? So I think that was like the biggest mistake, because if I'm using this Pokemon, and I did use it on stream, and you can check it out, there'll be some highlights on my pokeaimPLUS channel. I was using Swords Dance, Gunk Shot, Leech Life, Protect. I was using Stomp and Tantrum over Protect for a bit, and I ended up liking the set more. Obviously, when you fire a Chaladon, you better have another Pokemon doing the legwork. But I was using the set because that Gunk Shot at +2 can KO even like max defense, max speed, or max defense, max HP Charizard Y. Obviously, nobody's running that much bulk, but they are running max HP and they are running a good chunk of defense, but I can KO that. And it also just is really, really strong. Even to Pokemon like Basculegion, I one-shot a Basculegion with +2 Gunk Shot. It was crazy. Now, I probably got a higher roll, I don't know, but it was just very strong. So I really like this Pokemon, and I think Charmer is okay as an ability, right? Not being able to be crit is good. We've seen Mega Slowbro do well with it, but Mega Slowbro has options like Iron Defense. And while this Pokemon also learns Iron Defense, I just think that it would have benefited more from a combination of Swords Dance and Iron Defense in one, and that's Coil, right? Obviously to a lesser extent. And it's just really weird. Like I don't like the fact that it doesn't have U-Turn, Mortal Spin, and First Impression. A lot of that has to do with, you know, how I feel it'd be in regular 66 or draft or anything like that. But I just think it's a little whack that they didn't do that. Going from Speed Boost to Charmer, though, is fine. You can Swords Dance, you can get some sweeps. It's definitely bulky enough. But I think that, you know, the big thing about it is it's so defensive. So this is one more of a disappointment, but I had a lot of fun with it while I was playing. So definitely check out the stream if you want. And I'll use this again in a video at some point. But now we have a pretty exciting one, and I think this is one of the better megas that we have currently, outside of, you know, old returning ones that are still good, like Metagross, even though it does have quite a nerf to it, which I'll talk about in another video. But basically, it lost Heavy Slam and Knockoff. Heavy Slam is the big one. But Mega Staraptor. Mega Staraptor has Contrary. The leaks were right when it came to Staraptor. This is huge for Staraptor for a few reasons, right? So Contrary is awesome because you'll get the boost whenever you're supposed to get a drop. So if your opponent intimidates you, you'll get an attack raise instead of the attack lower, which is really, really cool. If people hit you, if side Pokemon like Whimsicott or things like that hit you with like Charm or Fake Tears or whatever, you get boost. This is pretty big for Staraptor. It's also obviously fighting flying, which we already knew from Pokemon Legends EA. But Staraptor ended up having, or keeping Bulk Up, which is awesome that it learned in Pokemon Legends EA, and Blaze Kick, which I guess is cool for Golden Go. It did lose Knockoff, so actually Blaze Kick is its way of hitting Pokemon like Golden Go and Age Slash if it really wants to. But it also got Roost back, right? It had Roost in previous generations, and then it lost it, but now it has Roost again. So you can definitely make use of this Pokemon. It's as fast as, I want to say Latios. If you're playing doubles, you might, it's base 110, right? So it's really fast. Bulky with that 190 and 85. You have Intimidate prior to Mega Evolving, which is absolutely amazing for this, right? So you'll lower their attack, and then when you Mega Evolve, if you go for your Close Combat, which is now Stab, you'll be raising both of your defenses +1. So this has a lot of potential to snowball, especially with the combination of Roost plus Close Combat. Raising your defenses and recovering from damage. Imagine this. You can't Intimidate Cycle this physical Pokemon, right? That's usually how people deal with physical Pokemon. They Intimidate Cycle with Incineroar, then they fake out, then they switch out, then they bring out another Mon, then they fake out, and they Intimidate Cycle, and they go again and again and again. And the fact that it's naturally lowering the attacks from faster Pokemon like Sneasler and even Aerodactyl's Rock Slide, and then when it Mega Evolves, it's not weak to Aerodactyl's Rock Slide. It is weak to Dual Wing Beat. It's not weak to Rock Slide. I think is really, really crazy. Right, one of the things that we were talking about with this Pokemon prior was it having Tough Claws, which I think makes sense for how it looks. I honestly think Staraptor was meant to be in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet because it literally looks like great hair, great beak, whatever, great wings, whatever, great wingspan, whatever you want to call it. It'd be the great tusk of it. It'd be the Paradox Staraptor. That's what I personally think it was going to be. But either way, I think Close Combat, I think Contrary is really cool. And it's a great way to punish teams with Incineroar. It's a great way to break through Pokemon like our Chaladon and things like that. And yeah, I'm happy that I got Roost back. Brave Bird, Roost. There's also the option of Tailwind, I believe. And even options, Tailwind for sure. And even options like U-Turn for a little bit of momentum for the team. Or even Whirlwind. And Whirlwind sounds really interesting because if you go for like close combat, put your defenses up, set up hazards with things like, and this is more maybe in singles, but also in doubles, set up hazards with things like Lamora or Samurai Sui or Cleavor, depending on the meta, and then you just Whirlwind, you're raising your defenses, you just phase them out, phase them out, phase them out. They have Toxic Spike up, you have Rocks up, you have Spikes up, and again, these are not that uncommon now in doubles. Like Cleavor had a big time with it. I just think there's a lot of fun potential with this Pokemon, and I think it's a really, really good Mega. So next we have our nonchalant Mega Scrafty right here. Mega Scrafty, maybe not the best metagame for it currently, at least on a solo Mega team in my opinion. I think this is definitely a mon that you want to bring for a double Mega team because you face a Floette, you face a Whimsicott, and you get blown away. It does have crazy attack, it does have its great defenses, and it got Intimidate upon Mega Evolution. So you have Intimidate before Mega Evolution, and then when you Mega again, you can get a second Intimidate off. This potentially could have been crazy if it had kept Parting Shot. They got rid of Parting Shot on it. They said, nah, we're not giving you another Incineroar. So they got rid of Parting Shot on it, which it did get in Legends EA, which is really unfortunate that it no longer has Parting Shot. But Scrafty overall still is always going to have a niche as a fake out Drain Punch or close combat, I guess in this case, because you do have like some insane attack and then knock or crunch depending on it. And then your last move would either probably be like something like Protect. If it was Assault Vest, obviously before, you could always still have Super Fang as well. But you're so strong that I think you can even get away with something like Poison Jab or Iron. It gets Iron Tail now, which is funny, but like Iron Head or anything like that Scrafty can do. Of course, in singles, you have your Swords Dance, you have your Bulk Up, you have your Dragon Dance. They gave Scrafty, I mean, Scrafty's always had like some of the craziest setup, but Double Intimidate sounds absolutely insane for VGC. I like the fact that they do this and they have like Pokemon like Staraptor with Contrary. So I feel like, again, this would be a Pokemon, at least in doubles, where you're pairing it with a second Mega, right? This will be your mode into Trick Room because it's slow enough and it has Double Intimidate, and you have Intimidate Mon, but you don't care at all about King Gambit, and you can just Drain Punch it and do whatever. Or it can easily live like a Sneasler move, and if you're playing in best of one on closed team sheet, Zen Headbutt could be something interesting that you run as well to just knock out Sneasler after you live the CC, because you have two Intimidates. The first one activates White Herb, the second one is just -1, naturally live, and then you kill it back. But you're definitely going to want it with a secondary Mega that can deal with fairies, so Zard Y, Mega Metagross, etc., etc. Pokemon like that. Still, I think it does have potential, and I think Double Intimidate is really crazy. But no Parting Shot, though. Oof. Imagine Double Intimidate plus Parting Shot to lower their attack even more and give you momentum. We're very lucky that it didn't keep that. I also want to say, if I didn't already say it, it's in the description. Big shout out to Retro NC for the gifts that you guys are seeing of these Pokemon. I think they're sick. Now, Mega Malamar, we needed it to have more, right? We needed Mega Malamar to have more. It got Stealth Rock, which I think was pretty cool as a lead as well. And it got some increases, which was pretty cool too. But it kept Contrary. And I don't know. I don't see a Pokemon like this actually going crazy right now with anything, really. Like, obviously there's Superpower there that you can do something with. Malamar unfortunately lost Close Combat, which sucks, because now it can't boost both of its defenses and do something crazy with Stored Power. That like really, really sucks. That was actually one of the scarier things that it had in the Pokemon Legends ZA metagame. And this was a fake metagame on Pokemon Showdown, which is what we're looking at. And it's, for those that don't know what Pokemon Showdown is, basically people use it. It's actually the best place to test VGC Best of 3 because there's a free ladder. You play for free, but you know, you can just play a game. You can see people play and do things like that. It's very easy. But it's called PokemonShowdown.com. I didn't make it. Some people think I made it because my trailer is on the front. I didn't. But anyway, we have this Malamar that has Contrary, so you can still go for like Superpower and raise your attack. But the fact that like it lost, I don't know, the fact that it lost the greatest thing it could do for a Rest Talk Store Power set, which was actually very, very scary and had repeatedly swept multiple people. with close combat, stored power, rest, sleep talk, it's just insane. I think it's just insane that this mon ended up losing that. It was really bulky as well, with that 120 special defense, that HP. So it's a really big nerf for it. I'm having trouble seeing a world where this Pokemon's like that crazy in VGC, and I'm sure you can play with any Pokemon and play like Protect the Captain style, where you have like Incineroar, you have Sinistcha to heal, Mousehold, whatever you want on the side next to it. I'm sure there's definitely a world where like screens as well can do something with it. And I mean, again, I think any Pokemon can work. Like, respectfully, I think any Pokemon can work, or truthfully rather, I think any Pokemon can work as long as you have proper support. And this might be one of those mons that, you know, with superpower to at least raise its defenses, plus attack, or defense plus attack, maybe it could do something with that, especially with like Toxic Spike from Glimmora. I think that'd be a pretty cool lead. I think actually it's a really good lead in general, just because Glimmora or Sneasler, it's just, they're really good partners, because Glimmora deals with the fairy types aimed at Malamar, and Malamar just gets stronger and stronger next to Glimmora and really benefits from the Toxic Spike damage as well. And the stab knockoff, having superpower to deal with King Gambit as well, is pretty big too. You can one-shot King Gambit with the combination of superpower plus earth power, if it's like Chopper or something like that. So I think there's potential in this Pokemon, but the loss of close combat is such a big nerf for a Pokemon with Contrary, which is funny because obviously Staraptor is going crazy with it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty excited for Mega Barbaracle. Yes, it did keep Tough Claws, which isn't even that bad of an ability when it comes to this Pokemon, in my opinion. Just having the strong liquidation, or in this case, close combat, which it does have, and luckily did end up keeping. I think that's amazing for Barbaracle in itself. I will say that rock fighting is great offensive typing, but in a current metagame with a bunch of fairies, it's a little bit tough. I'll also say that who cares when you have Shell Smash Rock Slide? Like, who cares if the fairies can hit you for super effective damage if the fairies cannot hit you, right? I can easily see something like Shell Smash Rock Slide, Protect, and then you kind of play this like you play Shell Smash Blastoise in a sense. Being rock fighting now from your water typing, you can also have, you know, Tough Claws. Unfortunately, Tough Claws only boost this, it doesn't boost its rock move, but it does have liquidation. It also got Aqua Cutter, and which I think could be fun on a sniper set for the regular guy, but it also got Aqua Cutter plus Waterfall. So on a sniper set, that'd be kind of fun to run that on regular, maybe with like Scope Lens, so you can do some crazy crits with that. But close combat, Rock Slide, Shell Smash, and then either like Night Slash as an option for Age Slash, and like Golden Go and Basket Legion, or you can do like Liquidation as just a sure, accurate way that's really strong. But close combat, do not sleep on Tough Claws boosted close combat when it comes to this Pokemon. 140 attack is nothing to scoff at. This Pokemon can cleanly 2-hit KO Pokemon like as defensive as Skarmory with close combat. That's just how strong it is. And Barbaracle has good stats. 130 defense, 106 special defense. Like, just coming from regular Barbaracle to this, whereas regular Barbaracle has a 115, 86. Like, that's such a huge increase. So screens can also be something cool, like Screen Sableye. And just, I do think rock and fighting is just great offensively. Just, it's a little bit tough right now in the fairy meta. So you definitely, I don't know if it's going to stay a fairy meta. Like, you have Metagross coming here as well. And Mawile as well. So I don't know, but I think being able to deal some massive damage and just having strong rock slides, just base 140 attack, strongest rock slide, right? It's crazy. Dragalge has insane potential, man. I'm going to tell you right now. So we made this Pokemon Legends ZA metagame. It was a metagame where you basically were able to use these Pokemon that were in Pokemon Legends ZA, because Pokemon Legends ZA didn't have regular battling. So you made this metagame on Pokemon Showdown that you were able to use them in a regular setting, and we had to give them abilities because they didn't have abilities from Pokemon Legends ZA. So the ability we ended up giving Mega Dragalge was Regenerator, and this was one of the most disgusting Pokemon out there. It was literally one of the most disgusting Pokemon out there because it is such a great natural check to all fairies. You ran Spadef. This is such a great natural check to Zards as well. You can also run Fizdef, so you can lift Dragon Claws easily from like Garchomps and stuff like that. And this is, I'm talking about in a singles metagame, not even in VGC, which I think it could still do. And the cool thing about this Pokemon was that it has Regenerator, so when it switches out, it gets Recovery, and it also has Flip Turn. It says illegal here because they're just not in the Showdown builder yet, but that's fine. So you're able to run your Sludge Bomb or Sludge Wave, depending, right? Your Draco to do some massive damage, and then flip turn to get on out of there. And I guess in VGC, you'd probably run something like Protect, or you can run Focus Blast if you really, really want to, and you can just do this, or Dragon Pulse as well. Obviously, losing out on adaptability sucks a bit, but you also have 132 special attack now, as opposed to like the under 100 Dragalge prior. So Regenerate is disgusting. You want something that can deal with Floette and do some massive damage back, this might be your guy. Like, legitimately, this could be your guy. It also has like physical poison moves too if you're scared about Calm Mind. As it has some great natural resistances. I think this is going to be a very slept on Pokemon. And again, in a metagame where Mega Metagross has Psychic Fangs, and you have Swampert as well, which also Mega Swampert now, which also has Wave Crash, and some strong EQs and things like that. But EQs are mainly spread. The Dragon moves are not that strong. Dragon Claw is not going to KO from Garchomp, and you can KO back easily with Draco. So I do think that Mega Dragalge has crazy potential. I think that in a single setting, whether it be 3v3 singles or what I'm mainly talking about, which is 6v6 singles, like an OU setting, this Pokemon is going to be absolutely disgusting on stall teams and in general on balances. It's going to be very difficult to KO. We already have a very difficult to KO Pokemon in singles, and that Pokemon's name, Galarian Slowking, or Glowbro. That is one of the, or Glowking rather, excuse me. Glowbro is his brother or cousin, but it's not as good. Still good, don't get me wrong. I like that quick draw on him. But this Pokemon's going to be very, very annoying, because especially imagine using this on a stall team, right? And forget about actually doing damage to steel types. You'll just flip turn out of there. You get a Toxic Spike, you flip turn around, you take damage, you get Regenerator back, you have some great natural resistances, you resist fire, which is so big, right? You're not really too weak to much else. Ice type attacks are not going to kill you if they're special. They're not going to kill you if you're physical either, because you can split your defenses, right? This is a bold set, right? You can run Relax, so you get the slow flip turn as well. I think this has an insane amount of potential as well, and I think this is going to be a giant menace. It was already a menace in the Legends ZA metagame. I remember fighting it when I was on the top of the ladder, and the stall games were really crazy. It was really difficult to take down, and I think that's just kind of what Dragalge is going to do, right? All they did was kind of amplify what Dragalge was, and it's nice, man. It is such a nice Pokemon, and I am so excited to see the work it can put in. I'm really, I feel like people are going to be sleeping on this. He brings certain matchups, and I feel like people are going to be sleeping on this Pokemon. So Mega Falinks ended up keeping Defiant, which is okay, that's fine. Right, it has Defiant prior to Mega Evolving, so your opponent brings out their Incineroar or whatever, or they're less likely to bring it because they're going to give you an attack raise. And then you have Defiant when you Mega Evolve, and you get so much faster, you get so much stronger, and you get way more defensive too. So first off, Mega Falinks looks cool as hell. But the big thing is they did get rid of its Fake Out, which is a little bit annoying. They did get that in Legends GA, but they got rid of Fake Out. However, none of that matters when you have your Omni boosting move, No Retreat, which allows you to boost all your stats +1, but you can't switch after. And then, I mean, now you have 135 base attack. You're +1. Your opponent cannot Intimidate Shuffle you. And then you can just kind of click attacks, right? Like you have your close combat if you really, really want to. And I think you want your fairy coverage 100% of this Pokemon, right? You want Iron Head, for sure. You want to be able to knock out Pokemon like Sylveon. You want to be able to knock out Pokemon like Floette. And then you can either run Protect or you can run Knock Off. And Knock Off, of course, is going to give you the option of beating Pokemon like Basculegion down, but you're faster than Scarf if you are +1 because of your No Retreat. So Falinks has a lot of options like that, and it also has, I believe, also Bulk Up and Swords Dance. Yeah, Bulk Up and Swords Dance, really cool option on this guy too. Just difficult to deal with. But I think No Retreat, obviously having that Omni boost is going to be big for this guy. Again, fighting types right now, not the greatest in the meta game, but I mean, usually they're okay if they have secondary typing that can at least help them a little bit. This one obviously is only monotype, but I think it's okay. Like Sneaser's great, right? But Sneaser also has that broken move, Fake Out, and secondary typing, which helps to deal with fairies, right? So it's a fighting type, but it's a poison type too. So it's perfect in that sense. But Define, I think, is nice, at least in the VGC setting. I think it'll be okay as well in like an OU setting, mainly just because Falinks is stronger now, right? Having that 135 base attack actually makes his Pokemon a threat based on before. Dude had base 100. He was just doing no damage. He was doing no damage. That 35 increase is big. It is going to cost your Mega Slot. But what do you guys think? Let me know down below. How do you feel that we only got 2 new abilities so far, and then the rest they got good. Some of them got really good abilities. Don't get me wrong. I think a lot of them actually got really good abilities, and it could have been a lot worse, right? It could have been like the first wave of Pokemon we got. But they seem pretty intent on like giving some of these Pokemon their same base abilities. So let me know your thoughts down below. Feel free to leave a like. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. And there are going to be a lot more videos on the way. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.